Hi, boys. This is a story about Pete the pirate and his adventures trying to find his lost treasure. I hope you like it. Here we go. Many years ago, on a strange and distant desert island, Pirate Pete landed on the shore. He knew he was on the right island because he recognized a large rock shaped just like a skull in the bay he'd anchored his pirate ship. "Arr!" he said as he got out his treasure map and carefully paced out the distance until he got to X marks the spot. Whereupon he dropped to his knees and frantically started digging. After a long while, he stopped digging and looked puzzled, cross, and most of all, very, very sad. His treasure was gone, stolen, thieved. You might think it served him right, because he stole it in the first place. It had definitely been taken by someone or something. Pete the pirate looked closely at where his treasure would have been. The sand was all soggy wet. He thought for a while and wondered if it was the sea that had swept his treasure away. But how would he ever be able to search deep in the blue sea? But Pete already had an idea. He jumped up to his feet and ran back to his pirate ship, where he had an old and small submarine called Boaty McBoatface that he'd stolen from somebody called David Attenborough a long time ago. He launched the submarine and slowly sank into the deep blue ocean. Pete had lived on the sea all his life, but he'd never seen what lay beneath. He was amazed as he looked through the porthole. He could see thousands of different colours, seaweed dancing, and lots of sea creatures rushing around him. In front of him, Pete saw a school of sharks swimming towards him. He decided he'd have to be very brave, so he put on a diving suit and swam out to the sharks. He approached the sharks cautiously, but soon realised they were very friendly when they gave him a big welcome. The sharks asked what brought him to visit under the sea, so he explained what had happened to his treasure. The sharks listened well, but couldn't help Pete, as they didn't know anything about his treasure, nor did the turtles, nor did the fish, or the octopus. Pete started to give up hope when, just then, he saw a sparkle deep at the bottom of the ocean. He swam as fast as he could down to the bottom to see if it was his treasure. But unfortunately, when he reached the bottom, he found a sad and lonely fish. He asked him why he was so sad, as he was the most stunning and beautiful shiny fish Pete had ever seen. The fish smiled back and thanked Pete for being so kind to him. How could he return the favour? Pete replied, "Well, if you happen to know anything about my missing treasure from the beach, I'd be very grateful." Rainbow Fish sadly didn't know anything about Pete's treasure, but told him of a fish named the Late Tiddler, who knew all about what was happening under and above the sea. Rainbow Fish called Tiddler and arranged for Pete to meet him. Surprise, surprise! Tiddler was called the Late Tiddler because he was always late. And so he was. Finally, Tiddler arrived with a whole book full of excuses for being late, but they all sounded very fishy to Pete. So Pete asked Tiddler about his treasure, but Tiddler didn't know anything. However, he told Pete who would: the snail of the whale. Pete got straight back into his submarine and followed the calls of the whales. He popped out of the sea when he was near the pod of whales. He looked around for the tiny snail on one of the whales' backs, and it didn't take him long before he found him. He approached the snail and asked if he knew anything about his treasure, as this was his last hope of ever finding it. The snail grinned and replied, "Yes, I heard a thumping noise while sleeping on the whale's back, and it woke me up. I looked across to the shore and saw dinosaurs roaming around and digging in the sand. Maybe they took your treasure." Pete thanked the snail for all his help and quickly went back to the shore to find the dinosaurs. Pete looked at his treasure map for directions to the dinosaurs and followed it carefully, making sure he didn't go the wrong way into a soggy, stinking swamp. When he arrived at the dinosaur's home, he saw them all having a huge, fancy dress party, wearing all of his magnificent jewels and treasure. He approached the tallest dinosaur and asked why they'd taken his treasure. "Sorry," said the dinosaur, "we thought it was a dressing up box and decided to have a party." Well, Pete thought that was a jolly good idea and joined in the party. Everybody danced and ate cake and became friends. So Pete had not only found his treasure, but lots of new friends too. And that, I'm afraid, is the end. The end of the story about Pete and his lost treasure. And I hope we'll be talking to you soon. Bye.